Let's be honest, trains kind of suck in the United Kingdom. They're expensive, unreliable, overcrowded, and somehow still late even when they don't go very far. And that's strange, because on paper the UK should be perfect for train travel. It's small, it's dense, its major cities are close together. This is basically the exact setup where trains are supposed to thrive. So, why don't they? At first glance, the excuse seems obvious. People will tell you it's because the UK rail network is old, or because there are too many strikes, or because the weather is bad, or because Britain just has too many people using trains. But none of those actually explain the whole problem. Because if old infrastructure was the issue, countries like Germany wouldn't have some of the best rail systems in the world. If strikes were the problem, trains wouldn't still be expensive on days when no one's striking. And if overcrowding was the cause, prices should go down once demand drops. Yet, they don't. So, to understand why UK trains are so bad, we need to rewind a bit. Back in the 19th century, Britain was the railway superpower. The modern railway was essentially invented here. By the mid-1800s, the UK had one of the densest rail networks on Earth. Trains connected nearly every city, town, and industrial centre, and they were absolutely critical to Britain's rise as a global power. But that early success created a long-term problem. Unlike countries that built modern rail systems later, Britain's tracks were laid early, cheaply, and, most importantly, independently. Dozens of private companies built railways wherever it made sense for them, not for the country as a whole. The result was a network that worked, but wasn't optimised. Fast forward to the 20th century, and things start to unravel. Cars became popular, air travel exploded, and railways, once glamorous, started losing money. So in 1948, the UK nationalised the rail system. The idea was simple. If trains are essential infrastructure, the government should run them. And for decades, that's exactly what happened. Then, in the 1990s, Britain tried something bold. It privatised them again. This is where things get weird. Today, the UK rail system is neither fully public nor truly private. Instead, it's a fragmented hybrid that manages to capture the downsides of both. The tracks are owned by Network Rail, a government-owned company. The trains are run by dozens of private operators. Rolling stock is owned by leasing companies. Ticketing is split across operators. And responsibility for delays is complicated. Very complicated. If your train is late, it might be the operator's fault, or Network Rail's fault, or another operator's fault, or the leasing company's fault, or no one's fault, at least on paper. This fragmentation creates one massive issue. Nobody is truly incentivized to fix the system as a whole. Each company optimizes for its own contracts, not for the passenger experience, and passengers feel it. Let's talk about reliability. In recent years, roughly 15% of UK trains arrive late, and several percent are cancelled outright. On some routes, cancellation rates are so high that passengers just assume their train won't run. Signalling failures, staff shortages, engineering works, industrial action. Individually, these sound like reasonable excuses. Collectively, they form a system that people simply don't trust. And once people stop trusting trains, everything gets worse. Now, let's talk about the thing everyone notices immediately, the price. Train fares in the UK are among the highest in Europe. In many cases, it's cheaper to fly across the country than to take a train, sometimes by a lot. And this isn't just because flights are cheap. It's because UK rail is structured to recover a much larger share of its costs directly from passengers. While many European rail systems are heavily subsidised, Britain relies far more on ticket revenue. That means higher fares, more complicated pricing, and constant increases that outpace inflation. And because the fare system is so complex, two people sitting next to each other on the same train can pay wildly different prices for identical journeys, which makes the system feel arbitrary and unfair. Strikes only amplify this frustration. Rail workers strike because wages, staffing, and conditions haven't kept pace with expectations. Passengers get angry because they're paying premium prices for unreliable service. The government blames unions. Unions blame management. And the system just stalls. Literally. Every disruption pushes more people toward cars or planes, which reduces ridership, which makes finances worse, which leads to more pressure to cut costs or raise fares. It's a feedback loop, and not a good one. So why doesn't the UK just build shiny new high-speed rail and fix everything? Well, it tried. Projects like HS2 were meant to be the solution: faster trains, more capacity, and modern infrastructure. But costs ballooned, timelines slipped, political support wavered, and large portions were cancelled or delayed. Building new rail in a densely populated, already developed country is incredibly expensive, and upgrading existing lines is difficult when those lines are already running at capacity, which leaves Britain stuck. Too busy to rebuild, too fragmented to coordinate, too expensive to ignore. So what's the takeaway? UK trains don't suck because trains are bad. They don't suck because people don't like them. And they don't even suck because Britain lacks the right geography. They suck because the system is caught between public necessity and private incentives, layered on top of infrastructure that was never designed for modern demand. Until that contradiction is resolved, either through deeper public investment or